humanity has faced extinction more than once. Today, we invite you to discuss how, long ago, the fate of humankind hung by a thread. Did you know that about 1 million years ago, nearly 99% of the ancestors of modern humans on Earth went extinct? And roughly 75,000 years ago, a similar event occurred again, bringing humanity to the brink. Get comfortable, friends. Today, we'll talk about the bottleneck effect and explore how, in essence, we are all relatives. Almost everyone has pondered a certain childhood question. Cartoons, news, and legends of Noah's Ark tell us that a species can survive if a single male and female are preserved. Thinking about this often leads to imagining the awkward processes that must follow, especially when the survival of a lineage depends on siblings mating. Something far from ideal from a genetic perspective, isn't it? To explore this concept more tangibly, let's travel to Micronesia, a group of small islands just above Australia that seem like paradise for beach lovers. Imagine we book a ticket to Pingelap Atoll for a vacation. Upon arrival, we settle in and ask a local resident which color shirt would be best for photos. Unexpectedly, the person admits they cannot distinguish colors. You ask someone else, only to find they also suffer from complete color blindness. Curious, you search online and discover that in 1775, a devastating typhoon struck Pingelap. Only 20 people survived on the island, and they remained isolated from the world for a long time. Those 20 individuals became the ancestors of the atoll's current population. Among them was a person carrying the gene for achromatopsia, a rare condition causing complete color blindness. While harmless to the carrier, this genetic trait can lead to the condition if both parents carry the gene. Over generations, achromatopsia became epidemic on Pingelap. Today, a third of the population are carriers, and 1 in 10 has the condition in its active form. This is a striking example of the so-called bottleneck effect, a drastic reduction in genetic diversity due to a severe decline in population. Fewer unique individuals mean less overall variety. In 1993, advancements in technology allowed scientists to analyze the DNA of people worldwide to detect similar issues. The findings were clear. The ancestors of modern humans passed through multiple global bottlenecks, akin to the one seen on Pingelap. The population of Earth shrank to near extinction and then recovered with a very limited gene pool. Even more startling is that modern humans exhibit much less genetic diversity than our closest animal relatives. In fact, we are less diverse than gorillas. All visible racial differences between humans amount to just a tiny percentage of our genetic variability, about 2%. The remaining 98% of our genetic makeup is identical. This forms a strong scientific argument against racism. In the animal kingdom, a 10% genetic difference doesn't justify categorizing individuals into different species, let alone subspecies. Scientists delved deeper to pinpoint when and why these bottlenecks occurred. In 2008, a groundbreaking discovery was made. By analyzing ancient Homo erectus DNA and comparing it with modern humans, researchers from the University of Utah noted that despite millions of years of evolution, Homo erectus had greater genetic diversity than we do. However, we are still less diverse. After refining the data, scientists unequivocally stated that around 1 million years ago, human ancestors went through a bottleneck, losing a significant portion of their population. Shortly afterward, the numbers were revealed. 1 million years ago, there were between 18,000 and 26,000 human ancestors walking the Earth. By modern standards, this would officially be considered a situation close to extinction. Out of curiosity, scientists even calculated the critical number of individuals required for the survival of humanity. This number varies for each species and depends on reproductive rates. For instance, locusts can survive with fewer individuals than tigers because they reproduce more quickly, meaning their critical population threshold is lower. For humans, the figure identified in 2008 was 18,500 individuals. If the population were to fall below this level, extinction would become inevitable. As you can see, 1 million years ago, humanity came dangerously close to total extinction. What caused such a sudden decline? Unfortunately, we will most likely never know the exact cause. Too much time has passed, and it is incredibly difficult to calculate. As is customary, scientists point to volcanic eruptions and climate change for answers. And as for some bloggers and pseudoscientists, they bring up aliens from Alpha Centauri, global nuclear wars, and other wild theories. What's far more interesting is that scientists quickly discovered a second instance of humanity passing through a bottleneck. This time, however, it was much more tangible. By studying the DNA of African tribes that had little contact with other groups, it was revealed that 70 to 75,000 years ago, humanity once again came close to extinction. This time, the numbers appearing in various studies are apocalyptic. Some researchers estimate that after an unknown cataclysm, only about 2,000 Homo sapiens remained. More conservative estimates suggest 10 to 20,000 individuals, but even that is extremely low. Interestingly, evidence of a sudden decline around the same time was also found in the DNA of South African orangutans and chimpanzees. Everything points to some kind of global catastrophe that affected not only humans but also animals. The volcanic eruption theory has been brought up again in this case. Swiss scientists calculated that approximately 75,000 years ago, the supervolcano Toba, located in present-day Indonesia, erupted. This eruption is considered the largest in the past 25 million years. It was so powerful that volcanic ash from Toba was found in the sediments of Lake Malawi in Africa, 7,000 kilometers from the site of the disaster. In 1815, the so-called year without a summer was well documented. During that time, the eruption of Mount Tambora triggered a brief ice age, leading to famine, migrations, and what we now refer to as a nuclear winter. However, the Toba eruption was 20 times more powerful than Tambora's, which caused the year without a summer. One can only speculate how difficult life must have been for the planet's inhabitants. Even Greenland's ice sheets contain anomalously high levels of sulfuric acid dated to this period. The cooling was undeniable, and the situation was worsened by the fact that the planet was already in an ice age. This ice age began about 100,000 years ago and ended roughly 11,000 to 13,000 years ago. In short, it was already cold, and the volcano made things worse. Naturally, scientists quickly linked humanity's sudden near extinction to the volcano's aftermath. However, there are inconsistencies. The main one is the Neanderthals. It seems the Toba eruption bypassed them entirely. In fact, not long after the eruption, Neanderthals even experienced their own golden age. Additionally, the amount of ash found in Lake Malawi was insufficient to have caused a serious impact on the ecosystem. Sediment analysis showed that vegetation continued to thrive during the period affected by the eruption's effects. In short, we know for certain that an extinction event occurred. The only question is what caused it. Fortunately, the third extinction, discovered in 2015, is much easier to understand. This is largely because it happened, historically speaking, quite recently, around 7,000 years ago. Before this time, scientists observed a flourishing period of development. Humans began settling down, building massive architectural structures, and using canals and other engineering solutions for irrigation. Everything was progressing wonderfully, and this golden age was rightly called the Neolithic Revolution. Then, about 7,000 years ago, something happened to men. Over the course of 2,000 years, DNA records show a severe crisis in Y chromosomes, which, as we know, are primarily associated with males. In other words, the number of men on the planet dropped sharply, and it took 2,000 years for their population to recover. It's quite the mystery, but the answer is fairly predictable, isn't it? Considering that only men were affected by this extinction, scientists immediately began searching for evidence of wars, and they found numerous signs of bloody conflicts from the past. To illustrate the severity of the situation, male DNA was in such poor shape that there were roughly 17 women for every man. While earlier extinctions might be attributed to chance events, the Neolithic male collapse is clear evidence of how humans violated the laws of nature. Evolution favors the survival of the fittest. However, during the Neolithic period, once humans settled in cities, wealthy and influential individuals emerged. They, according to scientists, reproduced like there was no tomorrow, while people of lower social status perished in wars and their aftermath. It was during this era that clans were established not only as spiritual but also as material carriers of wealth and resources. While women could move from one clan to another, men were tied to a single clan. This, in turn, further reduced male diversity, which became concentrated within families. However, according to scientists, this particular factor had minimal impact. The real apocalypse for the planet came in the form of wars and armed conflicts. And here, we can no longer bring in aliens or Nibiru. We have enough archaeological evidence and knowledge about the era. In the end, we see that humans are truly a unique species, breaking all possible laws of nature. Evolution strives to promote diversity, yet the dominant species on the planet became one whose individuals are almost identical. Nevertheless, even on this path, we managed to survive several dangerous situations. And while nature brought humanity to the brink of extinction twice, at least once, we did it to ourselves. Let's hope that was the last time. See you next time, friends.